Hi there, I hope you're doing well today. This is Captain Ahvious, and welcome to the Advanced Guide to Landscaping Tools. In this tutorial, we will be covering everything from the basics to the advanced tricks and how to use them. For this demonstration, I am starting on a new map with the Vanilla Unlimited Money, Unlimited Soil, and Progression Unlock mod. They are called Vanilla mods because they are available on all platforms from PC to console. The landscaping tools is found on the lower right of the interface and is available to you when you reach the Tiny Town milestone. The first tool is the Shift Terrain, which elevates or lowers the terrain. Click and hold the right mouse button to lower the terrain, while you can click and hold the left mouse button to raise the terrain. But notice how small the area of the effect is, and it is going to take you a long time just to raise a large area. So to the far left, you will notice a bar graph. This is the brush strength. When you left click, it will increase the strength of the terraforming. To reset, just left click again to bring it back down. Now let's do a 5-second count off to compare the difference. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. That is brush strength 1. Now we'll increase it to 3 and do the same thing. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. Notice the huge difference. So that will make things move a lot faster. But this is still going to take a long time. So it would be nice if the brush was bigger. So that is where this comes into play. So let's change the brush size to the largest and notice how much bigger the area is. And this also works the opposite way by using the right mouse button, and it will dig down or lower the terrain. And our work definitely became faster. But let's say this was a mistake and you wanted to flatten this out. So this is where the level terrain comes in. So what it does is it copies the current height of anywhere on the terrain. So for example, we want to copy this level. So I will right click, just right click once, and then left click, hold and drag over the area that you want to fill in. So this also works the other way. So for instance here, I want this to flatten out. Again, I just right click once, left click hold to go over that. So instead of flattening here, let's say I wanted to make a plateau. So I'm going to right click anywhere in between, wherever I want. And then, so that's right click, then left click. And now we have our little plateau here. And the third tool is the soften terrain. So what it does is, see how smooth this is, and this is more like a cliff. So if I wanted to soften this, just use that tool. Make sure it's selected, then left click to kind of smooth that out. It doesn't flatten, but instead softens the edges. And if you want to do that faster, you can use the right mouse button, and it's like a fourth strength instead of just 3. So we're really smoothing this out. So you can apply it here, so we can make this much more smoother. I'm going to use the right mouse button now, so that is really smoothed out. And the fourth tool is the slope terrain, and this is what it does is it copies 2 areas. One is the first point and the second point. So the first point, we want this to be the top part. So I will right click, and then the lower part is where we want the slope. So I'm going to left click and drag towards the first point. And notice this really smooth surface. So that makes things much faster instead of just making this using the shift terrain, doing that and then using the smooth tool. No, don't do that. Use the slope terrain. So right click, left click on the ground, then drag towards the area where you want to go. And that is how you use the 4 tools. Now let's apply what we've learned in practical situations when building a city. Let's say you wanted to make a bridge over this highway. There are actually 3 ways to make a bridge, and it is up to you on what method you will use depending on the situation. So the first type of bridge is the common one where you create an elevation going over the bridge. And to do an elevation, you use the page up button, and our elevation step is the lowest strength level. So that is 1 step, 2, 3, and then simply go across. And there is our bridge with the minimum height required. If you increase the strength, so starting from 0, and I go the same number of steps, 1, 2, 3, notice how extremely large or tall that bridge is, and that's not what we want. So we're going to bring it back down to the bottom, and then from here, when you stretch out your bridge and you want to bring it back down, use the page down button until you reach there, and try to drag it as far as possible before it retracts. So there, it retracted, because if you allow it to retract, that's actually an extremely steep slope. So for example, let's say we did not let it retract and we went as far as possible. So for instance, come on now, there is the longest length, and then we click on it, then continue that bridge. Now notice the difference where this is an extremely steep slope, while this is a very gradual incline. So try to drag it as far as possible instead of doing that. So let's do that again. I'm gonna bring it down, 1, 2, 3, and drag it. Oops, there it is before it retracted. And do the same thing exactly on the other end without going downwards, by creating a tunnel here and there. So that is the first type of bridge. Of course, you could make a tunnel, which is perfectly fine. Just simply go under using the page down, then page up to bring it back to the surface, and then from page down, bring it back up to the surface again with the page up button. And there is that is another method, but I don't practice this as often because this is not as attractive compared to the other types of bridges. So I avoid tunnels completely, but you don't have to. So the second type of bridge is when it comes with it's kind of lying on a terrain. So instead of this just elevating up on its own, it's going to look like this. So let's start that. So again, it's 3 elevation steps up, 1, 2, 3. It's up to you if you want to bring it as close as possible to the road. Try to bring it out a little bit, and then going across. And then from here, I am going to use the landscaping tools. First, we will start with the shift terrain and kind of increase the soil until this happens where the earth cracks. Then we're gonna get the level terrain, right click as much as possible on the base of the road, right click to copy that level, then left click to spread it out. And of course I didn't hit it properly, so I'm gonna try to do it again. And there you go. So I found the right height, and since it is still copied, I am not going to right click anywhere. I'm just gonna simply left click on the other side, so we have the same exact level. And then from here, I want to extend this just a little further. Then I'm going to use a road, bring it back down to the base. I want to make it up to 10 units. So this, you'll see a line that appears when it first appears the first time. That is the midway point, while this is the 10th unit distance. So from here, I want it up to there, and same thing here, bring it back down 10 units. And then we will be using the slope terrain, and I will use the right click button to copy or have the first point, which is the top, and then on the bottom, it depends on you on how far you want to make it. Left click drag to make our smooth slope, and do the same thing on the other side. Right click, then left click drag to make that smooth slope. Then simply continue our road going downward. That's 1, and that's 2. So now we have this little terrain, and what we want to do is to kind of smooth this out so it's not as messy and jagged like that. So I'm using the smooth terrain, and you're gonna see a difference where it looks much cleaner and nicer compared to just having this. So that this is the second type of bridge. And the last type of bridge is actually an underpass. So to make this underpass, what I'm going to do is first I'm going to, instead of elevating up, we are actually going to keep it on the bottom, or as flat as possible. I'm just going to make this road going across. So the important thing here is I am saving this node area, and then I'm going to delete this and continue. And as you can see, the node is here, so this should be able to go through theoretically. If not, then we need to kind of adjust it a little further in. I hope that works. Maybe there, bring it there. So the node is what you really want to look for. Okay, so that looks extremely safe. Then bring it out. So this is our marker, right? And this is a straight road, and what we want to do is we actually want this to go underneath, and this will be the top bridge. But before we do that, let us delete this. Hold on, I want to make sure it's perfectly 10 units. 10. Oops, that's not 10. 10. Okay, I hope that works. Otherwise, we're gonna have issues. Then I'm going to delete our road, and I am going to dig. It's important to dig extremely deep, but if we do not and we continue to do that, that's what happens. It actually sinks down, and this is not what you want to do. So this is why it is important to dig as deep as possible. I call this the trench bridge technique. And when you do that and you bring that bridge across, you'll notice it is a perfect straight line. Don't worry about the suspension on the bridge. That we could always get rid of that. And then I'm going to delete this further. And now to create that underpass, you have to look at the number of levels that goes down, and a safe number is up to 10. So same thing with the roads where you see a line marker, it goes the same here. So you see this darker line is the 10th mark, and this is the top. So this is from here to there is 10, and there's another 10. So we want to grab this. So I right click in order to save that, and then I'm going to left click in order to make that save, or actually level in this area. And then from here I'm going to delete a little more just to have an extremely smooth slope. Then we use the slope terrain, gonna bring it down a little to the medium brush, or actually we'll keep it at the large one. Right click to save the location or the first point, then left click drag, and that is how we have our first slope. Right click, left click drag, and now that is an extremely smooth slope. And all we need to do now is just simply connect our highway together. And now to remove the suspension on that bridge, all we need to do is just upgrade that road. So we're going to use this upgrade road tool. It's a different type of road, but no worries, we will definitely just bring it back to what it was. So this is the same road, so I'm gonna bring it back, and now we have this smooth bridge. And of course, the last thing that you will just need to do is to just smooth out this area. So if this kind of cracks a little, just use the level terrain and push it out a little bit. Same thing on this end, just push it out ever so gently, then use the slope tool or the smooth tool just to fix that. So those are the 3 ways to make a bridge. Now let's apply what we've learned into creating a very simple interchange. Before we do that, I want to replace this bridge because it seems rather boring and plain. The bridge that I want to use would be this one. Nope, this one. So when you elevate this page up, and let's make it that high, you see it creates this very interesting suspension, and this is what I want to apply here. And we cannot just simply upgrade the road because oops, we cannot just upgrade it because of the height. It will not allow it. There has to be a certain height before you're able to transform it. So what we're gonna do is we are actually gonna delete all of this, and then we will create a hole, and which will create an illusion of the height of the bridge simply because of that hole. So now we have the suspension that we are looking for, and the simple thing we need to do is just to refill that hole like it never existed. And then just do our simple terraforming. And there we're while we're here, since we're gonna be creating offline or off ramps, I will fix the slope. I want this to be equal on both sides because that is important in order to reduce the amount of cracking on the side of the ramps, especially on a slope. So let's push this out, make it as equal to the bottom as possible. And from here, there. So that's what I was looking for. Okay, and same thing on the other side. Let's push this out. Use the slope tool, right click, and then left click drag. Oops, that was a little too much. I guess it has to start from here. Alright, that's close enough as possible. And now, oops, let's not forget to actually reconnect our lower highway. There you go. That would be good, especially for it to function. Let's see, let's measure that. So the distance here, around there, 240. We'll bring it out a little bit. So notice the minimal amount of corruption, or I don't know what you call that, deformity in our terrain. Okay, so that is as equal as possible. And then we're gonna fix the slope from here, going there. Just make it clean. Oops. Okay, sorry, that was my mistake. From here, going there. The next thing we need to do is to measure the distance from here to there. So I'm gonna click this. The cost is gonna be different. So I'm using the 2-lane gravel road, and we're just gonna try to measure. So it's around 600. So if it was from here, you want around 600. I'm gonna use the ground level. Here to there, 600 is more or less here. So this is the road that we want. So we just have to realign everything. So that is our 600, and now hopefully so the distance between this is much less, but it's actually hard to compute that now, especially in vanilla. We need to have like a very small distance before it can curve. Same thing here. Actually, let's not do that yet. And using the curve tool, going connect. There you go. And let's see, and let's do the same thing on the other side. So that is around 600 if I remember correctly. Let's just test it again. 580. 580 is here, so I'll connect it there and do this. Again, we measure this side now from the base of the bridge to the node of that, so that's 400. So we need around 400, which is here. So let's try that again. 400. So this is the perfect node, and now we just rinse and repeat. And that is how we create our very symmetrical and very clean interchange. And final steps is to just decorate it. So we're going to be adding some fencing, some rocks, and some trees. So for this demonstration, what we want to do is we want to create a road going uphill. So let's say part of your city is on top of a mountain, and I have this temporary road that I made, and as you can see, it is rather steep going uphill. So a much better way to do this is by a winding road. It would take much longer, but it would definitely look much better. So I've made this here. And how to do that is we're going to be using uh, the level terrain and observe the terrain levels. So a reminder that each dark line is considered 10 units, and what I want to do is I want to create a winding road going upward by 10 units. So first we're going to start off, let's say actually we'll start from 20. So I'm gonna put my cursor right on top of the dark line or thicker white line, and we're gonna flatten that. So that's our first area. We could create another one here. So I actually jumped a little, so it's gonna go this way, that way, and then try to think of your pattern of how it's gonna go. um, that's a little too close, so I'm going to bring it all the way here. So I'm looking at the distance because the closer it is, the more steep it will become. So you want to make it further away. So don't worry about this because this will slope downward. So we have that there, and we're going to do the next one here, and the third or the next will be a little bit up there, and the next is here, just a little far away. So this will be slightly steep, And again, we're gonna slowly climb up. So this goes there. It looks like we skipped a step. Yeah, we definitely skipped a step. No, actually, it's correct. My bad. Right, we're gonna go here, and then from there, I will go this direction, and I'm gonna do this all the way up. All right, so now that we have all our sections kind of planned out, now we're gonna go ahead and make our road. I will be using the 4-lane road. It'll be much nicer if you use the small 2-lane road, but this will be extra tricky, but we are still going to manage. All right, let's see if I remember. So it goes right, and I'm also going to be using the freeform road tool. Oh wait, I completely forgot. That's the wrong step. We need to make the slopes. So I'm going to be using the medium size brush. We are on maximum, or actually, yeah, let's use the large brush. Maximum strength goes that way, and then from here we want it to go there, and goes here, and from here goes there, and then from up here it's going to be a tricky curve, so it has to go like that. And then here I will make it from this side going. It looks like we skipped a step, so the further away should be better. There it is. And from here I'm gonna make it curve that way, so I want a very wide curve here going there, and then from here going up I'm gonna go as far as possible, and I will continue that pattern. Alright, so now that we have our slopes, then we can create our road network. Alright, so it starts off that way. So again, we will be using the freeform road tool. I can just make a curve this way, and the more wind there is, the much better. So try to avoid making any straight lines. So, and going here. Alright, so we have our winding road now. Now we can actually test if this is good. So this is a little janky. Let's redo that. I think the slope, there you go. So the slope was not right. Kind of shifted a little bit. And looking here, yep, that looks decent. Going uphill, yep, looking good. Yes, nice curve. Looking nice. Very gradual. Nothing really steep, that's okay. This one here is slightly steep. Let's try to fix that. Alright, let's start back here. This one's a little jank. Oh, okay. So now I know why it's slightly jank. It's because of the node. So there's a node here that's causing that. So that's fine. That's actually acceptable. And then we're going up, going on this long turn, wide turn, going up again. Yep, that looks very nice and smooth. This here is actually not too bad. And finally, we reached home base. Okay, so now the next thing, all the other thing that we need to do is kind of fix the terrain. So this, I guess the natural instinct is to try to smooth it out, but actually that is the wrong thing to do when it comes to making winding roads going uphill. In this case, you actually want to embrace all of this, embrace the cliffside. So I am going to purposely make it into a cliff because that's how roads are usually when they go uphill. So I am going to make it as so, and then we will be adding barriers around our roads. This one can be a little, actually from the downhill, this is fine, but going uphill should definitely have some cliffs. Alright, so now I'm going to be adding some fencing around as a barrier, and we're also going to start decorating with rocks and trees. Fellow mayors, that is the end of today's tutorial, and I appreciate you being here. Leave a comment down below for any other tips that you are looking forward to, and like the video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel for more tutorials. This is Captain Ahvious. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video.